Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Ashley and this is Worth the Read, where we talk about books that are worth your time reading. Today's video is a book versus the movie. A book versus the movie. And we'll be talking about Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. Let's get right into it. Unlike my other book versus the movie videos, I saw the movie first for this book. I think that was a good decision because usually when you are an avid reader, you always tend to read the book first and then of course they turn it into a movie. So you go into it with preconceived notions that you're probably not going to like this as much as the book because you have read the book first. And the books are always, not always, but most of the times better than the movies because they can't put as much detail in the movies as they do the books. So this was my first movie that I watched first and then read the book. So I think that kind of changed my my review of the movie in a positive way than it normally is. Because when I usually do these videos, it's normally very like, I love the book, I didn't like the movie. It wasn't that great. But this video, I feel it's going to be different because I really love the movie. And I like the book. But I love the movie. The movie was excellent. It was so great that I saw it twice. Back to back. Like, I went on a Thursday and then I went back on a Sunday to see it again. So, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the movie first. No, let's talk about the book first. Let's talk about the book. Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan is a book about a American raised Chinese, because she's in the book they refer to it as the ABC, American born Chinese, but she's not. Her name is Rachel. She was born in Asia and she moved over to the United States when she was really young. I think it was either 2 years or like 6 months, one of those. Years old. Her mom brought her to America and she's a economics professor at NYC and she's considered to be a very successful Asian child because she's smart, she has a successful career, and she ends up dating a guy named Nick, and he's an Asian gentleman as well, and she has a pet peeve about dating Asian men. She did it before, and it kind of comes off racist towards your own, but she had reasons why she really didn't like dating Asian men, and her reasonings made sense. But she ends up being introduced to Nick through a coworker, and they fall in love, and he wants to take her home to Singapore for his best friend's wedding for the summer. But what Nick doesn't tell her is that he's extremely wealthy, like billionaire wealthy, like generational wealth, like you will never run out of money wealthy. And the premise of the book is he wants to take her to Asia so he can introduce her to his family and potentially propose to her. But he really doesn't prepare her for life of being under the scrutiny of his family. And I think most men really don't think about things like that, or how someone's going to be treated by their family members, or how someone's going to be perceived and taken in by their family. They don't think about that. Men are very simple. I'm going to introduce you to my family. They're going to love you because I love you. And we're all just going to be one big happy family. And that's not how it turned out for Rachel. His family kind of tears her apart. Like, next level tears her apart. And it causes a divide between them. I will not tell you the whole movie or the book, which is the movie is based on the book. I won't tell you the whole plot and the whole breakdown, but he loves her and he was expecting everyone else to just love her and welcome her with open arms, and that didn't happen. Quite opposite. They hated her. Everyone hated her. Not only did his family hate her, but the other families that his family associated with hates her. Everybody thought she was a gold digger and she was with him for his money, but he never spoke up to say, oh, I never told her I was rich. She doesn't know that my family is wealthy. I never explained any of this to her, which I think was all his fault. Now that I'm thinking about it in the book, he should have told her before they get on the first class Asian Pacific flight. That's when she finds out, when they're on the plane, that he's rich. He should have told her a long time ago, but he didn't, and that causes a problem in their relationship. And that's kind of the premise of the book. So that's the basic foundation of the book. I won't go into too much detail because, of course, I don't want to spoil it for you. This book, prose, I like the history that they give in the book about the Asian community and how, you know, families were in Central Asia, China, and then they broke off into different parts of Asia, and how they gained their wealth, and their strong traditions in strong traditions in prestige, and how they're to align themselves, and everything that happens in this community for a reason. You don't just date anybody you want to date, because you dating someone means it's a benefit to your family, and it's more of a business move than a love thing in this community. So it was very interesting to read that part of it. What I did not like about this book is, this book is a lot of detail, a lot of descriptions. Let me not say detail, descriptions. To get across how much money these people are worth and how much they're spending, there's a lot of describing designer bags and houses, the way they look, and how much a person spends on this and what they decide to do. So it's a lot of description of high-end things. And at some points in the book, you can be like, okay, are we going to describe another Christian Lacroix or another Chanel suit, or describe another house that's designed behind the Versace mansion? Or it was just a lot of description, and at a point it was just like, it seemed like it was more describing the luxury that these people are living in than the storyline, which I didn't particularly care for. So I think that was one of the main reasons why I didn't love this book, because it was so much describing the luxury that these people were living in. It was just like 75% of the words were talking about describing things and not the storyline. So I felt like I was lacking more of the storyline because it was so much description of material things, goods. It was just a lot. But at the end of the day, once you get through all the descriptions, the book is basically a love story between two people. One who, in her own right, is very successful and should be proud of herself, and her mother, who worked very hard to bring her to America, and a guy who is successful in his own world but is rich, and he's trying to fight against his parents' stereotypes about who he should be with and who he should love. So it is a love story. If you enjoy love stories, I say read this book. Just go into it knowing that there's going to be a lot of description of material goods. And that was pretty much it about the book. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too crazy details over the book because I want you to read it for yourself and get your own opinion. But I definitely say it was worth the read. I would give this book 3.5 stars. 3.5 stars. Like I said, it was just a lot of describing. Now let's talk about the movie. I love this movie. Like I said before, I saw the movie twice. And I would compare this movie to The Notebook, or a lot of those love romance movies that you get. I hate The Notebook. I have family members who absolutely adore The Notebook. I think The Notebook was too cheesy, it's just, I'm not a cheesy person. I'm not an emotional person. I tend to take after my father and am very cold-hearted at times. But in this movie, I cried. I actually cried. I was shocked that I cried. It's one scene in the movie, and I'll just tell you, it's the wedding scene in the movie, and it's not a spoiler because it's not Rachel and Nick's wedding, but the wedding, the best friend's wedding. It was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful, and I'm just like going through personal stuff, and it just made me literally cover my face and bawl in the movie theater. But I wasn't the only one who was crying, so I didn't feel too bad. The costume designers, the set designers, everybody who worked on this movie did an excellent job because this movie is visually very stunning. Very stunning. It made me want to go to Singapore. Like, I am currently planning a trip to Singapore because of this movie. It's just gorgeous. The wedding scene, to me, is one reason alone to go see this movie. It's just amazing. And like I said, I'm not an emotional person, but it just brought some emotions out of me that I don't know where, I didn't know was there. And I was just crying in the movie theater like a whole weirdo. But the second time I saw it, I didn't cry because I knew it was coming. But it is just very visually stunning, this movie. Comparing the book to the movie, the main issue that I had before with the book is it would spend way too much time describing things. You eliminate all of that with the movie because you don't have to verbalize the amount of money they're spending, the wealth, the lavish things. You just show it. So a lot of, in the book, the description of the outfits, the description of how big the jewels were, what color they were, the kind of car, the color of the car. You eliminate all those words by just showing them in the movie. So I appreciated that because you actually got to focus more on the storyline and less of the description of how much money these people were spending, what they were spending it on, and things like that. So that's what I love. That's why I love the movie better than the book. Point blank, period. Because you eliminate a lot of words and you just visually show the descriptions of everything that he's trying to describe in the book. You're just seeing it visually. Now, I will say the book and the movie did parallel. So they went together. There were parts in the book that were in the movie. Even when I saw it the second time, and when I saw it the second time, I had finished the book already. And everything pretty much went the same. It may not have been obvious in the movie, but it was referring to the book. And I like that. It gives you like little Easter eggs to say, oh, we're not going to say this like exactly it had happened in the book, but here's a hint to the book. And I like that because it lets you know that these people were actually taking the book in consideration. They just weren't throwing a movie out there and saying this like this is Crazy Rich Asians. They took the book in consideration. So I say it does go along with the book and the movie. One thing I did not like about the movie, and this is very petty of me, but to just be rebellious, I have to tell you things I didn't like. There's the opening scene of the movie and the book where Nicholas's mom comes into a hotel in London and she's booked the suite of the hotel. And because she's Asian, the manager and the workers at the hotel just flat out refused to give her her room. She called a day ahead and confirmed her room. They confirmed that she booked the room. They just refused to give her the room. So then she decides to call her husband to try to work something out because it's like 2, 3 in the morning. They just came from a long flight from Singapore. It's raining. She has kids with her sisters with her. And what happens is, which I'm going to tell you, this is a spoiler in the book and in the movie. What happens is she calls her husband. Her husband actually knows the owner of the hotel. He purchases the hotel. In the book, she comes back in, the owner comes down. He says to the manager and the workers, this is the new owner of the hotel. Please give her her room. And then in the book, she fires the general manager. Which I was like, you go, girl. Like, how are you going to be racist? Because he was being racist because they were Asian. And he assumed that they couldn't afford to stay at the hotel. And then when he just realized that she could afford and she booked the room, he still refused to give it to her. She fires him in the book. What they did in the movie is they did not allow her to fire him. She just tells him to clean up the mess that her son has made. Which I was just like, why? Why change that? Why? I don't want to say that, but I just feel like, why do we have to spare his feelings? Why do we have to spare their feelings? She should have fired him. She fired him in the book. If my husband just purchased the whole hotel because you refuse to give me a room because I'm of a different color than you, I'm Asian and you're white, and you're just looking down on me, I'm gonna fire you regardless. Like, I'm gonna fire you and everybody who's standing next to you. Everybody's getting fired. Everybody loses their job. But in the book, they fired him. In the movie, she didn't. She just tells them to clean it up. And I was wondering why they made that change. I don't know if it was to make people feel more comfortable, or not be so harsh. But I just didn't like that. She should have fired him in the movie. She should have made it plain that she does not tolerate racism and fired his behind. But they didn't. So that was the only issue I had with the movie, for real. And other than that, I loved it. I loved it. I'm going to try to keep this video short. So we're going to wrap it up. I enjoyed the book. I give the book a 3.5 stars. I love the movie. So if you're not an avid reader, and I would suggest you go see this book, and you don't have to read. I suggest you go see the movie, and you don't have to read the book. If you are an avid reader, read the book. It's worth the read. But also go see the movie, because all the detail that you read in the book, you'll see in the movie, and it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I enjoyed going to this movie because I wanted to spend money on seeing a movie that was an Asian-based movie. So the whole cast was Asian, and there's not much representation of other cultures in Hollywood at all, and we all know this. And there was a Twitter debate about how, we being Afro-Americans should support this movie. Some people are just like, well, we gotta support our own. We do. We support our own movies. But we need to also support other cultures' movies, because there's very little representation for everyone in Hollywood. So it's nice to see other cultures being represented in a movie. Now, this is only the second, I heard statistically, this is only the second all Asian cast movie ever produced in Hollywood. And that's crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous. So I wanted to support it even more because of that, so that they know that there's an audience out here that wants to see diverse movies. I don't get it, but that's a whole nother topic. If you saw Crazy Rich Asians, let me know in the comments below. How did you feel about it? If you saw it and you read the book, let me know in the comments below. How did you feel about it? I loved it. It was great. So that's it for me. Ashley at Worth the Read. If you like this video, comment, subscribe, let me know. Give it a thumbs up. Everybody have a great day or rest of the summer. Safe Labor Day weekend. And if you're in Philly, say what's up. Bye, guys.